Johnsonville, Dudleytown, Barra-Hack. There are many abandoned colonial settlements across Connecticut. A few in particular have been drawing the attention of those curious enough to explore their grounds. An entire village, one flourishing with life and promise, disintegrated by time and lost interest. The slowly growing surrounding forest has all but claimed the stone foundations. A dark and subtle history flows through these woods, one brimming with unpunished acts of mutilation, drunken debauchery, and unsolved mysteries. This sleepy stretch of forest in central Connecticut is known as Gay City State Park.
What I'm standing in now is Gay City State Park here in Hebron, Connecticut. Through a very long lineage of folklore and odd stories about the different colonial settlements in this place, we have a whole haunted history right here in the woods in Connecticut.
There are two prominent legends about the violent history of this land. One suggests the disappearance of a local peddler was at the hands of a charcoal burner. The peddler's skeleton was found in the charcoal burner's pit. No one was prosecuted. Another story tells the tale of a young blacksmith's apprentice, wherein the youth was dealt a swift death and beheading for being tardy and perhaps a little intoxicated to work. Again, no one was prosecuted. Even though there are only 2 recorded murders within the area, these type of unresolved events rarely rest in peace.
It's really quiet. Like, oddly quiet. I hear things in the distance, but far, far distance. Many years ago, I came out to these woods with a friend, and although I was aware of the haunted history this place has, it's not something that I had personally experienced myself. So while I was here with my friend, she had the feeling that she was being touched, and all of a sudden, she said on the back of her neck, she felt like something had sliced her. Now, this was enough to scare her out of this property, and in fact, we hightailed it out of the woods after being here for only an hour or so.
Although my friend considered herself a sensitive in way of feeling energy within an environment, I was not prepared for the reaction she had to whatever had brushed against her. She kept saying it felt like the blade of a knife, but there were no physical anomalies to support her experience. The path into the settlement is unassuming. A daytime harbor for families to enjoy a barbecue and swim in the shallow lake. It's only a short trek into the thick that you realize the air is getting heavier. The stillness one experiences while being in this location is definitive enough to mention. No birds chirping, no wind to sway the trees or brush, and an oppressive silence that seems to stop your words dead in your face.
Established in the late 1700s, Gay City was originally a milling town, and though it was very prosperous for quite some time, over the days and over the years, imbibing took quite the popular turn here, and unfortunately had an effect on the community and the village at large.
Established in 1796, Gay City was named so after John Gay, one of the original founders. The town was created out of religious conflict, wherein the Gays were Methodist and had a particular taste for alcohol, and their adversaries on this front were the Congregationalists. Arriving from Hartford in what is now known as Hebron, the town quickly began to grow, with the distillery installed only after 15 years. Of course, with the majority of the town frequently under the influence, the remnants of the river that once was the center of this town's livelihood whispers of another type of spirit. Even with Barra-Hack or Dudleytown, there is much in the way of recorded history in the intricacies of events that occurred in the area. Why is so little remembered about Gay City? Are the previous residents still milling about the town on a different vibration within the folds of another time? I will say that on one particular visit to this location, I did walk by one particular area that had the smell of death. It was incredibly strong, and I could not pinpoint where it was coming from. It's always possible that there may have been a deceased animal tucked underneath the leaves wherein I just couldn't see, but I found this to be very odd, and the cold spots that I experienced on certain occasions may have contributed to this.
We're approaching the remnants of the old mill that used to be here. Now, there aren't many constructs left, many stone slabs and constructs deep within the earth, such as cellars and foundations, but in the way of anything else that rises above the ground, this is the best of what's left here in Gay City. While only a wall to look at, there is so much history deep within this stone and in this earth that possibly may be harboring some of this paranormal activity even today. My own experience coming into these woods, personally, I've felt heaviness here. In fact, when I'm talking to you now, this place is very silent. And that's something that we've often seen when we come into a specific space, such as one supposed to be occupied by certain energy. It's just odd.
Once again, the silence covers the forest like a thick down comforter. With physics in mind, as we speak and create the vibrations needed to produce sound, we are moving air molecules over a distance to carry that sound. What if there is something already occupying the space, wherein its very presence dulls and mutes the environment? Perhaps there is some sort of unseen matrix, thick and convoluted with its intertwining threads, blocking our understanding of how observed physics function. Regardless of the reason, in spaces like Gay City, we can observe and experience this unexplainable phenomena by simply putting ourselves in that environment.
For decades, possibly centuries, people have traversed these woods and felt a sense of some electricity in the air, whether it be energy or some sort of spirit as well. In addition, there have been orbs spotted amongst the trees, disembodied voices as people pass through these woods, and of course, we have anomalous lights popping through the trees as well. What's going on here at Gay City State Park in Connecticut? It's a very odd place, lots of history, and as we've often said, perhaps it's the history that dictates the activity that we now see.
Many years ago, my mother came camping in the woods with a few friends. She said that she saw these odd lights moving through the trees and could hear the sounds of someone screaming as if they were in pain or needed help. This was coming deep within the woods.
What beauty used to lie here, we may never know. There are no known photographs that I'm aware of that actually illustrates what this place looked like in its prime. What we do know is that there are many establishments all across America that have held the same history and the same story as Gay City State Park in Hebron, Connecticut.
The future of this property is exactly as it stands, to decay and disintegrate, to continue to be reclaimed by nature. But the echoes of consciousness still bounce between these trees and stones, reminding us that even those that came before us may still exist and are living out their everyday lives the same as you and I. Stick around for a quick bonus presentation on Fort Trumbull in New London, Connecticut, as Dark Hour Paranormal continues. Nestled well within the mouth of the Connecticut River in New London is a historical military fort known as Fort Trumbull. With a rich and vivid history, this construct has seen its share of bloodshed and national heartbreak. The original fort was constructed in 1777, but the building that stands today was erected between 1839 and 1852. Built on the shores of Long Island Sound, spearheaded by Jonathan Trumbull, the fort saw battle in 1781 when the British attacked under the guidance of Benedict Arnold. While the British troops made their way towards the fortress from the banks of the Thames River, they eventually breached the walls and the commanding officer forfeited his sword in an act of surrender. It is reported Commander Bromfield of the British forces then ran the man's sword through him and ordered all survivors to be killed, which amounted to around 85 deceased, with many more wounded. The British then burned most of New London, killing thousands, and boarded their ships. With such a tumultuous past, spanning every major war until the turn of the last century, it's no wonder people report cold spots, glowing orbs, shadow figures in periodic military garb, and phantom voices within the walls. As far as a fortress is concerned, Fort Trumbull is incredibly well preserved. Please enjoy this visual overview of the location and drop a comment below if you see anything anomalous within the footage. Thank you all for joining us tonight on Dark Hour Paranormal.